All right, let's jump right into the Hardin Valley real estate market. We're going to break down everything that happened in 2025, all the key numbers, and then we'll take a good hard look at what's likely coming down the pike.
So, this is the big question, right? It's what everyone wants to know. Is the market still on fire, or are things finally starting to chill out a bit? Instead of just guessing, let's let the data do the talking. Okay, first things first. Before we can look forward, we've got to understand where we've been. So, let's ground ourselves in what actually happened last year by digging into the hard data from 2025.
Now, just take a look at that orange line. That's the median sold price. See how it has its little ups and downs month to month? That's totally normal. But the overall trend, it's a steady, consistent climb. That tells us that buyer demand was really solid all year. And that steady climb we just saw, well, it adds up to this big number right here, a 10.31% jump in the median sales price from the year before. I mean, in real estate, that's not just a tiny nudge. That is some serious momentum. This chart gives you the whole supply and demand story in just one picture. See the blue line? That's the total number of homes for sale. It was always higher than the red and orange lines, which are new listings and sold homes. So what does that mean? Well, it tells us that while homes were definitely selling, the supply was still tight enough to keep things pretty competitive for buyers out there.
And here's another huge clue pointing to that strong demand. An average of just 47 days on the market. That's fast. It means from the day a home was listed to the day it closed, things were moving right along. Houses just weren't sitting around, which is exactly what you'd expect to see in such a popular area.
Okay, so we've seen the what. Prices went up, homes sold quickly. But now let's get into the really interesting part, the why. What is it about Hardin Valley that makes it stand out and fuels this kind of performance? It really boils down to this perfect storm of three things. First, you've got a fantastic location with easy commutes. Second, you have some of the best schools in the entire region, which is a massive draw. And third, you've got this great community feel with parks and shops popping up. That combination is a magnet for buyers. And this is a really important point. While some other parts of Knoxville were maybe showing a few signs of slowing down, Hardin Valley just kept chugging along. It's a perfect example of a hyper-local market. What happens here isn't necessarily what's happening just a few miles down the road.
Of course, a market isn't just about charts and graphs, it's about people. So let's take a closer look at the folks who were actually buying and selling last year. What were they thinking? What were they doing?
To put it simply, 2025 was a fantastic year to be a seller in Hardin Valley. The ball was definitely in their court. They had the negotiating power, and like the data's about to show you, they didn't have to slash their prices to get a deal done. And here is the proof, right here in this chart. See how that line is just hugging 100% for most of the year? That means sellers were getting what they asked for. It's a really powerful visual that just screams strong seller's market. So what about the people buying the homes? Well, they had a pretty clear wish list. The big things were newer homes, spaces that could double as a home office, updated kitchens, and energy-saving features. It tells us buyers weren't just looking for four walls and a roof. They wanted a home that fit their modern lifestyle right away. Okay, so we have a really clear picture of 2025 in the rearview mirror. Now for the fun part. Let's look ahead. What can we reasonably expect to see in the Hardin Valley market in 2026? So the general consensus isn't some big dramatic crash. It's more of a normalization, a cool down. Demand is going to stay strong because those great schools and that great location aren't going anywhere. But that crazy price growth is probably going to slow down to a more sustainable pace. And as a few more homes come on the market, things should shift toward a more balanced playing field for buyers and sellers. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, but what does all of this actually mean for you? Let's translate these market trends into some real, actionable advice, whether you're thinking about buying or selling this year. For buyers, this shift toward balance might give you a little more breathing room, which is great, but demand is still high, so being pre-approved and ready to go is absolutely non-negotiable. Now, for sellers, this is the big takeaway. The days of just putting a sign in the yard and getting 10 offers might be behind us. Now, strategic pricing and making your home look incredible, that's what's going to make all the difference. At the end of the day, this shift toward a more balanced market brings new challenges, yeah, but it also creates brand new opportunities. We're moving away from the frenzy of the last couple of years and into a more strategic game, which leaves us all with one final question to think about for the year ahead.